Hello! Derek's back! And so is Our Life, Beginnings and Always. This is part 2 of our sleepover at our friend Derek's house. So this is exciting stuff. We camped out in the living room in a tent and hung out with his little brothers playing some fun story games, and yeah. It was an exciting time, and now we're going to hang out the whole next day, and this is going to be our long moment, folks, so strap in. I'm eating breakfast. I might be a little throaty yet because it's real early in the morning, but I got to get this in, so you got to get this in. Lastly, the two of you worked as a team to break down the tent itself. You slipped out each of the tent poles, attracted them to their smaller size, and began to get them packed away into the sturdy bag they came from the night before. While folding up one of the legs, Derek lightheartedly chatted with you.
Oh, man.
I'm so excited. The whole day. I can do anything before you gotta go. Walk to the park, watch a movie, get food somewhere. He doesn't often get a whole day to himself without his brothers, so this is something. He hummed along with a bounce in his pose. He was having plenty of fun just doing regular chores with you. The good mood is infectious. It's great. I was just thinking about how I was surprised my mom's let me come here today. Out of nowhere, Derek twitched like he was hit by a bolt. His hands flipped over protectively, and the pole fumbled out of his grasp. It clattered against the wooden floor. The sharp sound made Derek wince. He gave a meek apology with a leg rolled back against his sneaker just as pitifully. Sorry. Yeah, so there's a thing here. What day it is. And this is, I would have loved to have recorded this moment about a month ago. For certain reasons here, but you'll see shortly. Derek bent his knees and gripped his shirt's edge on the way down before he reached out to pick up what he dropped. What were you saying? That was pretty off. You didn't miss the blaring sign, complete warning sounds that something was up. But obviously it wasn't comfortable, so you tried to let it go. I was just talking about my mom's. Usually they're really strict about sleepovers. I can't do it out of nowhere. It's a planned thing. Having it be a camp out in the living room must have helped a lot. He gave a bit of a shrug and scanned her off for another piece to put away. I'm gonna have to keep that trick in mind. Oh yeah, that makes sense. They are like that. It is true. Derek fiddled uselessly with the dark gray rubber foot at the end of the pole. He's pretending to keep busy. You wondered if he remembered what the two of you were supposed to be busy with. It wasn't going away, whether you ignored it or not.
No.
That skipped one for some reason. Do you think they didn't like you, or that I meant something else?
No.
Forget it. It's dumb and doesn't matter. He threw the words at you. It was final and way harsher than you expected from Derek. The sharp edge of it wasn't for you. That part was directed towards himself. He'd never slept over at his house before. That had been your guess for why it might have been a little awkward. There was clearly more to it. You frowned. I don't care if it's dumb. I want to know. His brows angled at the same time. A tight bend formed in the tent leg. A way he twisted it between his hands was too much for the thin piece of pole. He didn't say a word. You can always talk to me about things you know. He spoke comfortingly. Derek, this isn't funny. Tell me what's happening, he said firmly. He gave an encouraging smile. He started patiently tapping your foot to it now. The first one. She would be nice. He sealed his eyes tight and dropped the leg on purpose this time. Despite all the effort it took for him to ask you to come in the first place, that paled in comparison to this. Suddenly it seemed like he wished you were anywhere but right here. I can't tell you! Derek's voice was an impotent whisperer. Impotent. Say impotent, not impotent. You'll think I'm the most annoying guy in the world. I am the most annoying guy in the world. It was such a bad idea. It was sneaky and judgy. I shouldn't have bugged you, but I already did it. It's too late. Derek's posture pulled closer and closer together as he spoke. His fists tapped against the front of his chest and his knees bent inward. The pressure building inside him was exerting real force on him. This man's has some real, self-confidence and, you see the internal struggles of Derek Suarez. He's real interesting. He's too nice, too. He has this whole being too nice thing. What if you don't want to be friends anymore? The last part almost disappeared before you had a chance to hear it. He looked small and lost. I'll always be your friend. That's never gonna happen. Derek, please. I don't want you to feel bad. I just don't understand. What's wrong? Alright, seriously, now spit it out. Your reassurance flipped to annoyance. No, that's never gonna happen. The tension kept compounding, causing cracks where most words could slip through.
Well...
I had a reason why I invited you when I did. Why it needed to be now. Yes? Even though his eyes creaked open, Derek wasn't looking at you, but finally he sucked in a breath and took the plunge. Marina, today is Father's Day. Da 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 da. So even if you get like a time period on this. Father's Day is always mid-June. So this moment takes place mid-June. So it's weird because I get the feeling that they all can't so this isn't going to be in chronological order then, because this would have made sense actually to do this really early on in the thing now that I think about it, because that would be towards the beginning of your summer break, right? And other stuff has to be later in the summer break, so something to think about. Your jaw dropped. You completely forgotten that was today. You knew that day was today, but couldn't have guessed that was Derek. No, you completely forgotten that was today. She wouldn't know. Why would Marina care about Father's Day? That's why Cove is busy. I will guarantee that's why Cove was busy. He spent time with his dad for Father's Day. You could put it together immediately, and though you were still stunned, you could put it into words. You thought I was gonna be sad because it's Father's Day and I don't have a dad? Derek loaded his head and pressed his shoulders up to his ears, trying to hide from the sound of it. Well, I wasn't thinking for sure that you'd be sad. I didn't know how you were gonna feel about any of it, and that's what's chewing at me. Derek poured out words one after another, trying to explain himself and the conflicting feelings he had bottled up the entire time. The floodgates had been opened. So, real talk here. I don't know how most people think about this stuff. And unfortunately, this is one of those cases where I think Marina is going to take a cue from me on how she reacts to this. But I have never given two shits about Mother's Day or Father's Day. Mother's Day was always kind of fun because we would go and visit relatives all day. We would go see my aunts and grandmas and stuff. You know, and bring them flowers and spend time visiting people. And my mom was like that. She was those people that had to always go see other people and visit them and bring them stuff and do stuff like that on Mother's Day. And yeah, we would make her a card and do try to do the breakfast thing sometimes, and to do all that stuff too, and celebrate our mom a little. But it was never about her. It was never about her having all the spotlight and stuff. We always did other stuff with other people. But Father's Day was never, ever, ever special. I have a dad, and I have a good relationship with my dad, but he didn't want anything on Father's Day. He always just did his own thing. Most of my life, my dad always did his own thing. We did stuff together and stuff too, but Father's Day was never a special day. It never meant anything. You never got gifts. I mean, I think when I was a little kid, maybe we made cards or got gifts or did things like that because it was that's what you do. That's what the media tells you to do. But this year, I actually didn't even call, and I feel bad. My dad's birthday has also always been a couple days before Father's Day, and that's always been more important to me than Father's Day. I guess that probably is part of it. But this year I didn't even call because I knew I was going to see him in a couple weeks later. So I just figured I'd spend that time with him then, and that was kind of my gift. But it's hard for me to think of Father's Day as an important day, especially. It's never meant anything. And for a person like Marina, I can imagine, since she's never had a father, why would she ever care? Why would she think about that? Since knowing Cove, to be fair, she's probably done, unless Cove is the kind of person that does private stuff on Father's Day, which he very well might be. She might have spent time with Cove's family, and they might have done something for Cliff on Father's Day. I could see her moms being like that they would want to do stuff, like that. But anyway, this is, Derek poured words out one after another, trying to explain himself and the conflicting feelings he had bottled up the entire time. The floodgates had been opened. So that's what this moment is really is about Father's Day. It's really weird that it's about that, and it's called siblings. It's about siblings too, but it's about Father's Day. It's not like it was around last year when this happened. I couldn't help wondering if it was a normal thing or a good time or a low point or whatever. This is the first year we've actually known Derek Suarez, which is the first summer we've actually spent with Derek, which is weird to think. But I don't live in Sunset Bird. I can't walk over like it's nothing to check. I had to come up with some other dumb way to be around. Derek's speaking pace slowed, but his blinks picked up speed. His rapid flow of words went on from explanation to admonishment. It was enough for him to choke on. So, I do think this is kind of dumb and manipulative. I understand, his desire here to want to help her with this, but She did not ask for this. She does not need an entire frickin' sleepover with Derek just to feel better about Father's Day. I think this is kind of ridiculous. I think it's over the top. It's bordering on white knighting. But that's stupid, because if you actually wanted me to be anywhere near you today, you could have asked yourself. Exactly! And your moms are great. Better than most dads. And you've got Elizabeth, too.
Sorry.
I shouldn't have made a whole big thing out of it because I made stuff up in my head. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But it's also mostly because of his worries, not because of anything we actually expressed. That's the thing. This is completely a selfish thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is fun and cool and that she got to do it, and Marina loves it. Is happy to have spent time with him. But yeah, it's kind of shitty. And then it went bone dry into silence. Derek dropped his arms to his sides in defeat. He could only look at you out of the corner of his eye. He was such a sweet guy. Poor kid, his seriousness about something like that was hilarious. Derek had been trying to look out for you. That realization made you grateful. You shifted uncomfortably under his gaze. It wasn't something he asked for. It was infuriating that he'd butt into your family. Knowing Derek viewed things that way was strange. You weren't sure how to feel. So, like I said, this is how I feel. But I'm trying to. We're gonna try to suss out how Marina would feel here while I eat my cereal. I don't think Marina would care. I think she would find this more funny than anything. That Derek is this ridiculous. Oh wow. You can react here too. You laughed. You teared up. I know that says teared, but teared and teared are spelled exactly the same way, and I'm gonna read it however I want. You covered your face with your hands. You hugged him. You gave his arm a friendly punch. You affectionately, yeah. It just happened instinctively. Your fist bumped right into him. Derek's caution turned to confusion. Marina? You're really cute, Derek. That's not dumb. Thank you. I'm lucky to have someone like you. I'd never hate you for worrying about me. So, I bet you if you were angry, it would give you completely different things here, which is interesting. I almost have to. I mean, I know this is going to be a long moment. Let's do that. Let's check real quick, because I have to. So, let's see. Oh yeah, look at this. Now we can't have a great dad like you do? Yeah, that's dumb and you're annoying. You're terrible. You think that matters to me at all? I don't have to have a dad. You just glared at it. I almost want to do it this way. Ooh. This could be real interesting. I think so. I think we need to have a moment here, right? I think she does need to be angry at him. Because this is... I'm sorry. Like, this is not okay. Think what you will. This isn't a sweet thing to do. He's 100% being selfish here. He did this because of himself worrying that you weren't going to be okay. He didn't think you could be okay without knowing... He even admits, I don't know you. I don't know what your life is usually like on this day. And I think to Marina, this whole thing, it's not just like, oh, he's such a nice, sweet guy. Oh, that Derek. No, this is like, the fuck are you doing? You really think I'm that insecure? I need someone to protect me. I need someone to take care of me. This might be our tipping factor in deciding whether we go to the soiree with Cove or Derek, honestly. Yeah, I think it's infuriating that he buttoned your family. And I think her response is going to be to clench her fists. It was instinctive. Your veins throbbed from the emotional mess he dumped on you. Derek's caution turned to concern. Marina? Your name said, with his voice sounded like a soccer ball smashing through a window, absolutely shattering. Sorry we can't all have a great dad like you do. Yeah, that's dumb and you're annoying. You're terrible. Why would you think that matters to me at all? I don't have to have a dad. You just gloated. I like this one.
Yeah.
I know. You're right. He shrunk in front of you, his head and shoulders slumped over shamefully. I should have just asked you and listened to whatever you said or accepted it if you didn't want to tell me. I shouldn't have creepily made you come to my house so I could watch and see if maybe I could figure out without having a normal conversation. Yeah? Yeah? Yep, you probably should have. Thanks. Thanks, Derek. This is the one thing. I forgot that you did this. I forgot this was the whole point of this moment. That you were being a little selfish asshole here. I'm sorry. I mean, don't get me wrong. He feels bad about it. This is complete, like, Derek. He meant it in the best of ways. He was honestly just worried about you, his friend, and wanted to do this. But it still comes across this way. Derek did the only thing he could to get even smaller. He crouched down to the floor. You sat too, feeling your self start to cool off. You sat too, so mad but thinking it pointless to stand there. You stayed standing and angry. You stayed... Yeah, so this is the other thing. She wouldn't stay mad at Derek. So, yeah. He tucked his legs up against his chest and gripped the fabric of his jeans. Derek murmured helplessly.
Maybe.
Would you maybe still want to talk to me? I'll just listen. You took a breath through your nose, steadying yourself, and tried to speak. We're 20 minutes in. This is going to be super long. Or 15 minutes in. This is going to be super, super long, guys. You steadying yourself and tried to speak with a tone that wasn't completely crushing. He was low enough already. Derek, I didn't even know it was Father's Day. We don't celebrate it, and it doesn't matter to me. Exactly. Boom. Thank you. It doesn't? Derek shut his eyes and squeezed them against his legs, pressing his face in as hard as he could. I really messed up. He bit his lip and stopped talking. He wasn't trying to listen and felt as though he'd ruined that plan, too. Derek waited there on the floor silently, still curled up in a ball. If it was more you needed to tell him, he wasn't going to miss it. What is it like having a dad? Is it different from how it's like with your mom? Did doing this mess up celebrating Father's Day for your own family? I'm glad I've got two moms. Honestly, I feel a little bad because I do have a dad. I feel like I do have a bit like I do have a dad because of Mr. Holden. I wish I had a dad like yours. You only sat there not saying anything else. I think she would actually come to think of Cliff this way. Well, yeah, because you're close enough with Cove and his father. But I don't know. You know, this one, yeah. Cove's dad wasn't your family, but he was an important figure in your life. When it came to ranking adults in your life, Mr. Holden might be in the top 3 most impactful people. You went on vacation with him. He brought you to the Redwood National Forest. If that didn't say dad-like behavior, you didn't know what did. Hey, it remembered that we went on vacation with Cliff before this. Wow! Though it was actually possible you didn't know what dad-like behavior was. So, like, she already thinks of Kyra as another mom. I'm just gonna say that right out loud. Marina loves Kyra Priest. Kyra Priest is the lady she wants to be when she grows up, man. Well, that or her cool moms, you know. But you weren't thrown from your quiet reminiscing and entirely expected. You were thrown from your quiet reminiscing by an entirely inspected shout. It was almost half startling as a signature. It was almost half as startling as the signature Clifford surprise. Really? Cove's dad? Derek shook his head rapidly at himself. That was not a very polite reaction.
Sorry.
Sorry, it's not bad at all. I don't know a lot about Mr. Holden, but obviously you'd be way closer to him than me. Yeah, he's always been there since I was 8. He tried to give me $20 to be friends with Cove. Even though he doesn't set rules or try to parent me at all like my mom's, he doesn't really do a lot of that for his real kid either. He's still a dad anyway. That's cool. Does he know? Derek tugged his legs and pressed his chin against the top of his knees. He had a heart-meltingly hopeful smile on his face. Oh, hey, you think you could do something nice for him when you get back to the neighborhood? I think Mr. Holden would appreciate it a lot. Maybe. What's it like having a dad? Is it different from how it's like with your mom?
Oh.
His parents weren't here, but his gaze automatically went to the hall that led to Mr. and Mrs. Suarez's room. You had no idea what was on his mind, so you needed to wait for him to say it. Derek ultimately shrugged one shoulder and tilted his head back at you. It's kind of different. My mom is really a mom, and my dad's a dad. What? Oh, now it may. No, yeah, now it all makes sense. Could you elaborate on that one? You blinked at her incredulously. Oh, okay, thanks. No. This is. Sorry. Oh, now it all makes sense, right? She would be. She's like that. In case. Oh, come on, don't be like that. He scratched at his ear. Derek heard the way his own words sounded just as well as you did. I think what I mean is, like, Mom is nice because she loves me. And I love her, and it's great. We can just be together, and it's like I don't have to grow up so fast. It's okay the way it is. That's not exactly how it is with Dad. It's because I want to be like my dad, and I'm not. I want to get mature and responsible and do more. I don't feel like I'm good enough when I've got to compare myself to him. Yeah, you want to be more mature and responsible. Okay, Mr. 13-year-old who's more mature and responsible than most 18-year-olds. I mean, but that's just Derek Suarez, right? That's just how he be. It doesn't matter. This kid. Yeah, I wanna talk more about my dad and my relationship with my dad, but I also know this is gonna be like a freaking hour-and-a-half marathon here. Because there's a lot we gotta do in this yet. Derek blinked. He cut himself losing track of the topic. It wasn't going where it was supposed to be, and Derek put a stop to it. But it's not bad. It's like he's trying to make me feel. It isn't like he's trying to make me feel that way. He pushed a couple inches off the ground using his heels and tipped backward a bit, but then fell into place again. Derek looked like a tiny rocking horse. A slight grin cracked open between his lips as he swayed. So I mean, his dad is really cool, and I bet a lot of kids don't have that kind of thing about their dad. They want to be like their mom or both moms. Yeah. I mean, I always looked up to my mom more than my dad. That's for sure. But there's a lot of things I like about my dad too. Huh, that's interesting. I don't get it. Trying to explain that to me. Good luck with your goals. Thanks for trying to explain it to me. It's cool. I don't know if it made sense. I want to be like my mom. I want to be like my ma. I want to be like both my moms. I want to be like me. Then you smiled and you shrugged. Yeah, she would look up to both her moms too. But like I said, Kyra Priest is the woman to be like, right? She's cool. She does whatever she wants. She's a writer for like a travel magazine. I mean, man. But yeah, she likes her ma. I think she would. I don't. It bothers me. I think she would find things admirable about both her moms. You can do it. You're already smart and nice and great like they are. Derek's words then slowed and stumbled. He squinted his eyes as if looking at you was blinding. It was the way he spoke when he forced himself to confess something that he wasn't planning on admitting. Also, well, Marina, since we're talking about Mom and Dad, I want to tell you they do kind of know why I wanted you to come over. I didn't tell them exactly, but yesterday they somehow figured out I was worrying, and before I could do something to stop it, they put it all together. I don't know how parents do that, but they just knew I had dumb ideas in my head. They didn't encourage me to go be super nosy like I went and did. That was totally my own plan. Okay. You answered tersely, distantly. What else could you say? You didn't say anything else. Your thoughts drifted away from Derek and even more from you. They floated across the condo, out the window, and off into the vast summer sky. As silence settled between you and Derek, Derek, plucked at his shoelaces and chewed on the inside of his cheek uncomfortably. When you felt the need to fix everything or make it all better, it was a major hitch when it was not your problem to solve. The air conditioner whirred in the background, though. Through your fuzzy feelings mind's eye, you could picture your moms and your big sister. Then your brain and your body suddenly snapped together in full focus. Da-da-da-da-da! What? Wait, what about Elizabeth? The mention of her name at the same instant reaction from Derek that you just experienced. His eyebrows lifted and his mouth opened soundlessly in a small O. She acts like she's over everything, but I think I remember back when we were little kids, she would get mad on Father's Day. Maybe that's why she was so aggressive yesterday. She didn't have friends who were coming over or anything, and Mom's had work, and now I'm gone too. Derek looked hard out the front door. He was expecting her to walk through it, or was he expecting her to walk through it, or was he running over to Sunset River to check, or was he planning on running over? Derek looked hard at the front door. Was he expecting her to walk through it, or was he planning on running over to Sunset River to check? He had no idea.
Shoot.
I thought there might have been a chance of that. It worried you. She was totally alone. You were so upset you were stuck here. was a horrible realization. You'd abandon your sister. You tried to consider the possibilities the best you knew You could with what you knew. You shrugged it off as her problem. You'd abandon your sister. Hope she's okay. Can I call her? I've got to use the phone. Derek, do you think you could call my house? I want to go home. You started nothing but the front. Derek, do you think you could call my house? No, I've got to use your phone. Yeah, good idea. Derek unfurled himself, got off the floor, and trotted to the hallway with purpose. About right where the living room narrowed in the hallway, set against the front wall, was an off-white telephone. The phone at your house was wireless. Derek had an elastic-looped line that kept the receiver going for more than just a couple feet away from its base. Yeah, the classic thing you gotta do when you have kids. I'm surprised that the moms don't have this for their little girls. Because, man, wouldn't that prevent a lot of the drama that had happened earlier with people not wanting to use the phone, or people using the phone? Or is that still to happen, I guess? I don't know. Elizabeth has a lot of issues with you hogging the phone, in case that was never obvious. Ba-da-dum-da, da-da-da-da. Anyway, I've always had a landline phone. I had both types of landline phones when I was a kid. Visions of Nicholas launching a cordless phone into the air purely for his own entertainment made their way across your mind. Ah, yeah. The option the Suarezes went with was the most practical for the family. Yeah, that makes sense. Nicholas would play with the phone. Your sibling, however, would throw a fit if she couldn't chat with her gal pals in private. Yup. Elizabeth, you wondered what she was thinking about right now. I wish we'd learn more about Elizabeth's friends. We never get to meet any of them. She never brings, well, except one of them. But you wouldn't have to imagine for longer. Derek didn't waste any time taking the receiver off the hook and offering it to you. There had been many times in the past Derek had used that very device to call your house, so the two of you could chat about your lives and make plans and whatever else. It's an interesting phone. I had one that was like, this is attached to a wall. I guess I've seen these in people's houses, but it's still weird. He literally ended up on the other side of things, poised to give the Fosterland ring from the Suarez condo. You give him Derek and punched in the number. You couldn't remember the number offhand, you had it written down in your bag. You don't know your own phone number, but you froze. You couldn't remember the number and had no way to check. Derek, I don't remember it. My house number. No. She would know her house number. She's not that irresponsible. When you pressed the cool speaker against the side of her face, you heard the high-pitched dial tone playing on repeat. That would be fun. That'd be a fun thing, though, if you didn't remember your number, right? Wow, that's kind of interesting. I don't think Marina's that. It rang and rang, waiting for one specific person miles away to answer its call. Finally, she did. Hello. Your sister's unmistakable voice filtered through the phone. The impatient note in her voice was just as recognizable. She didn't even know who it was and already sounded uninterested. Hello, Elizabeth. Guess who it is? Apparently her apathetic approach was being generous, because once she did find out who it was, she cranked the attitude up to outright annoyance.
What?
Marina, what do you want? You were facing the wall, but in your peripheral view, you could make out Derek glancing with wide eyes. The conversation had actually started. That was all the insight he had on the situation. I don't need anything. Oh, just calling to chat. Well, do you need anything? How are you today, Elizabeth? You had no idea what to say. You panicked and hung up. How are you today, Elizabeth? I'm just great. What do you think? What on earth is wrong with you? You're having a bad day, right? Excuse me? Listen, Marina, unless the police, firefighters, and ambulance or our moms are involved in whatever it is that you're doing, tell me when you get back. You sputtered to get something out, anything that might reach her, but it was in vain. The line clicked dead without a goodbye. You kept staring at the phone pointlessly. You couldn't move or look at Derek, but your hand holding the receiver listlessly dropped to your side. Marina, what happened? She hung up. Despite the near single-digit amount of seconds your conversation had lasted for, Elizabeth's frustrated tone had come through you loud and clear. A pit began to form in the bottom of your stomach. Your sister wasn't happy, and you felt terrible. The wish to have never called her, and the wish to have never come to this place, fought you within you for supremacy. The hall felt cramped, and you were suddenly uncomfortable being surrounded by these walls. Derek watched you helplessly, his fingers tensed, clenching and splaying again. A moment passed, and he let out a heavy breath. He wasn't powerless anymore.
Got a plan.
Another plan? You raised your eyebrows. The promise of a possibility gave you enough of a push to move your hand as well as place the receiver back under the base. Derek sprinted through the living room area and into his bedroom. The clatter of drawers opening and paper flying came through his own open door. You slowly stepped to the edge of the hall, tried to glimpse what was happening on the other side of the condo. He soon came bounding out again, clearly successful at something. Derek tossed a stack of colorful folded pamphlets across the surface of the coffee table. You jogged over to meet him there. You couldn't tell what they were for from a distance. Let's go to Sunset Bird. There are bus schedules and stuff. I've only got to look at what times they are and we can leave. What times are we can leave? How'd you think of that so fast? That's amazing. Why do you have those? What? You were stunned into silence. Why do you have those? I was thinking the same thing. He chuckled mischievously. You know what I say, it's good to be prepared. Do you say that? And I did wonder about this kind of thing before. I can't drive, but what if there was an accident or other emergency or whatever and I needed to be someplace right away? I already knew a lot of public transportation stuff because of that. Man, this man's already knows how the public transportation system works at 13. And he's planning... Derek began to shuffle the papers around and he flashed you a bright grin. But I didn't think I'd be pulling this out so that I could go see Elizabeth of all people. Derek laughed lightheartedly over the joke. The words didn't feel very breezy to you. That was because if he was honest, it wasn't about your sister. He'd spent time studying ways to get to Sunset Bird for his friends, for Cove, and for you. With you and him living from each other, far away from each other and not going to the same school, sometimes it seemed like maybe you stopped being a piece of his life once you left your town. He left your town. This proved you definitely didn't disappear for Derek. He cared about you even when you weren't there. And you could count on him even more than you'd known. While you were stuck inside your own head, Derek had his nose in the brochures. He pressed his palms on the table, fervently scanned the timetables, and rambled more about his schemes. There isn't a direct line to Sunset Bird. It's kind of a small place. We can take a bus from a real station and get on a smaller bus shuttle for tourists. So yeah, this is like interesting that he does this. Yeah, that would make sense to me. I mean, Sunset Bird is out of nowhere, and you live kind of in like San Diego. Derek's hands lifted from and then hit his smooth surface under him, making a solid smack noise. He was done searching. His gaze flicked up to your face. Is that okay? Yeah. Are we seriously gonna do this? Thanks, Derek. That's good enough. You balled your hands into fists. You blinked in disbelief. Are we seriously gonna do this? I'm as serious as you are. His absolute conviction was enough to convince you. You nodded. Knowing that Derek wants to go all the way to Sunset Bird to help your sister fills you with determination. We can leave a note for Mom about what happened, or... Derek packed up his pamphlets, sticking them in the crook of his arm. He twisted his head behind him and whispered to you covertly over his shoulder. If it makes you feel better, we might be able to get back before she even knows. We should tell her. Let's just go. What do you want to do, Derek? They're your parents. Yeah, that.
I guess.
Sure, but I'm the one who made this a problem. That's not the point. I want to know what you think. I'd tell them. They won't get mad at us for sure. Yeah, his parents are extremely understanding. Especially probably given how good of a kid he was. So, like, I was Derek. I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid, I 100% would have done this. That's why I'm so mad at him. Because I would have done this. I 100% would have done this if I'd had a friend like this and I was thinking about her family and stuff. Yeah. I was Derek. I was the responsible one who always did everything. I always tried to be prepared. I always did such and such thing. I wasn't athletic like him and like capable, but yeah. I was short. I really like this man's and his whole thing because I was Derek. I'm not Derek anymore. I'm definitely more like Cove. I'd tell them. They won't get mad at us for sure. Okay, we'll leave a note. Thanks, Marina. One sec. And I had parents like Derek's parents who were just understanding about everything. Because I was a good kid, I think. Because they didn't expect me to do anything irresponsible. Which is probably the way they feel about Derek. Derek dashed to the back room with all the bus schedules in his arms. He shoved them into something and then ran out to rejoin you at the front of the condo with a bag swung over his shoulder. Next, he went into the kitchen to grab a notepad and pen from the counter. He hopped up on his tiptoes to lean over it and scribbled a few rows of explanation on the paper. This would be a fun stream game, too, I think. He jabbed the button to retract the pen with nib with his thumb and set it down alongside his note. But I don't do Twitch anymore, and I can't do Twitch anymore. Twitch turned... I don't want to get into that right now, but Twitch turned out to not be my thing. And no matter how much I think about it, I don't want to go back. Even though I kind of had plans to. I talked about it in an earlier video about wanting to do Indiana Jones this summer on Twitch, and I can't. I can't do Twitch. Because, like, I just can't. It's not something I'm comfortable doing anymore in my life. I don't know. It was fun. It is fun, but anyway, we need to So we're doing this here, and I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you're following along and enjoying these stories of Marina and Cove and Derek and all our other friends in Sunsetburg. Right. You scooped up your own backpack and the two of you locked the now empty apartment behind you. At a brisk pace, we went to that same street we always... Derek led the way out of the condo complex and down the city sidewalks. I forgot we go here in this moment, too. They do use this outside of DLCs later, so... I wonder what came first. No, it must have been the regular, because it's in the Step 3 intro. So they must have had this from the Step 3 intro, and they just reused it for Derek's moment. I think that's what happens. Because I think the Step 3 prologue is the first place you see this. I think. You had to weave through crowds of people making their own way across town. Most of them were much older and taller than you were. I'm pretty sure this is San Diego. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's where we live. Between the massive strangers and the immense skyscrapers bearing down on you from all sides, it felt like a very small part of a bigger world. You took Derek's hand, you held Derek's arm, Derek offered his hand to you. You took Derek's hand. He wrapped his own fingers around yours and held tight. That gave you the reassurance you hoped it would. You were in this together. You pushed forward until you reached the nearest bus stop. The group had already gathered in the same spot for the same purpose. Derek didn't fight to reach out the front of the pack. He just kept to his fringes. So we're just going on this whole thing. We go on a bus ride to go see Elizabeth. You waited for anywhere from 5 minutes to 50 minutes. It was pretty impossible to track time accurately when you felt every single sluggish second hit you like a brick. No matter how long it actually was enough time to think. A part of you had felt as though you couldn't possibly seriously get on a bus and just go back to Sunsetburg without any of your parents. That just wouldn't happen. At 13, yes. That was probably why you went along with Derek's impulse as quickly as the idea had struck him, but reality hit you like a bus when an actual bus turned a corner and came your way. You give Derek's hand another squeeze. He responded by tugging you in a bit closer to him. I never used these kind of things in public transportation until I was the age I am now, and I've never rode bus systems. When I was a kid, we did take some like tour buses to go do go on some like field trips and stuff for school. Like school-related, school club-related stuff, but I've never actually gone on like a public transportation bus. I've gone on trains now as an adult, and I've gone to like unfamiliar cities and done that whole thing, and it's really interesting to be able to do that. But I know I'm killing time here because I'm doing something now. I got involved, I got engaged in doing something I shouldn't have been trying to do while I was playing this, and it's going to be a problem, I think. Here, I've solved the problem. I've solved the problem. I think I've managed to solve the problem. Okay, problem solved. I was gluing up My Little Pony's tail back on. As dumb as that sounds. The massive vehicle hit its brakes and slowed to a halt. The door opened to let those who'd arrived at their destination accept new riders. Real professional, I know. Here I am talking about doing professional YouTube, and I'm sitting here gluing a plastic horse together while I talk. The crowd jostled together and filtered through, and from the door, you and Derek were at the tail end of the group. Here's public transportation bus. I've been on like hotel shuttles and like airport shuttles, and they're a lot like this, just smaller. So I guess that I like that they've even got this thing of drinks up here in the front that you can purchase. I'm assuming that's what that is. That's what that looks like, or it looks like a vending machine. That's crazy. I want to ride on like a city bus someday. That's a goal. I have this whole idea to go to some cities. Actually, this year I want to take a trip to Kansas City and do a whole thing there, and I might try to do some public transport. Oh, they have other public transport. They have a frickin' streetcar. I want to ride the frickin' streetcar. I rode the frickin' streetcars in San Francisco, and it was fantastic. But I want to go to Chicago and do this too. I'd like to do a day in Chicago and ride a bus around and do cool stuff. Anyway. You had enough change in your pocket to pay the fare. Derek flashed a bus pass for his entry. The city bus was overflowing. He has a bus pass too, this child. It was overflowing with people as the streets were. You had to shuffle while turned to your side to get through the aisle without knocking the arms and legs of the other passengers. There was barely enough space to breathe. Humid summer days had never been more miserable. Tell me about it. You couldn't find seats that were side by side. Instead, you had to settle for 2 aisle seats that were across the way and 1 row diagonal from each other. That meant you had to let go of Derek, which was the worst of it all. Yeah, right. She wouldn't need Derek to protect her. The automatic door creakily swung and closed. You rocketed as the wheels began to turn. Yeah, they like, make it sound like you're so dependent on him. It's like, yeah, you have your friend and you're traveling together, but she wouldn't need Derek. She'd be okay. You relaxed as best you could. You wanted to move faster. You began to feel nauseous from everything. Despite what was going on, it was exciting to be there. You were scared. Despite what was going on, you were exciting to be there. You twisted around your seat and tried to look out the windows. It was a brand new experience for you. Derek didn't attempt to start a conversation, not that he really could in the hectic space with the distance between you. He'd become completely focused on watching your stop. He had a destination he needed to get to, and he was going to do it no matter what. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about these things. More stops passed by until eventually Derek leaned his chest over the open space and sent a quick message. His tone was breathy, like a whisper, but way too loud to really be whispering. This is it. He shifted upright immediately and tugged the bell, marking this as a stop for the driver. Soon the bus came to a cautious halt along the edge of the curb. Once at a full stop, the doors popped open and you could repeat the awkward shimmy through the aisle so you could exit. Okay, so I'm gonna... I might stop here for another video. This might end up being 3 videos, because I have a bad feeling that this is still going to be another, like, at least 30 minutes or more of this. And that's going to go way into overtime. Just because my friend's video was over 2 hours for this, and we're only like an hour and a half in. So, if you hear me say this, then you'll know that the video ends right here, and if you don't hear me say this, then I just did all this for nothing.